Well, hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and don't know if this has come sooner than oneself could have expected, but this is another episode representing who should be one of the most recommended YouTubers for 2023. Some people do make it to become high-profile YouTubers, but some not as high-profile, which is rather surprising, given what effort they could put in and all that, and how good their content really are. Sometimes it's not always received enough, which can be a bit surprising to some extent. But this person to be in the most recommended YouTubers for the year of 2023 is Dave Bryan. And Dave Bryan himself, he not only has one YouTube channel, he's got two YouTube channels. The first one being his original channel, Dave Bryan, which he doesn't upload very many things on there, but he generally comments on other people's videos on it, I would imagine, as I do certainly hear from him via that channel, and David also hears from him via that channel too. But his main channel he generally uploads videos on is the Car Media Kent channel, which will be linked in this very video, just to say. And Dave Bryan, he's a brand new friend of mine, as we only just encountered each other back in 2023. How I encountered Dave Bryan initially was via my best friend David Scott's channel and the videos he does, and all that. And sometimes Dave Bryan would say hello to David and make a few comments and share his views on the video. And then before long, sometimes I would come over and say hello to him and say that David is my best friend and all that. And this was before he'd even checked out my channel by this point. He hadn't even checked out my channel yet by that point. But then many months later, we'd met at Eastbourne Magnificent Motors in April of 2023, but it was both of us first. I was the first one he'd met, and then later on he met David Scott, my best friend, as I was the one who introduced both of them at Eastbourne Magnificent Motors. And goodness, wasn't it a good time when I first met Dave Bryan and David Scott. I was really looking forward to meeting Dave Bryan when he said he was to be attending Eastbourne Magnificent Motors, and we had quite an interesting encounter, I must say. So it was a good meet, what we had. And Dave Bryan, he seemed very quite friendly and interesting, and deeply interested in the classic cars, as is David Scott, and as I've come to be deeply interested in them as well. From different classic cars having the deepest interest in of various different classic cars from varied different eras, from when they were around and built and all that. And you know, we do have a future of meeting up together on occasions, both myself and Dave Bryan, as well as including David Scott too. I think we're both going to have some incredibly amazing friendship meetups from time to time at whatever classic car running event we plan to attend over the course of the next few years and so. Even though Dave Bryan himself is located over in Kent, there will always be times when we'll be happily meeting up together from time to time. Hopefully one day we'll meet up at a future Detling event and all that, or Hastings event and all that, like the Hastings HCVS Sprat and Winkle run, or Hastings Classic Car Show, all that. But at first, Dave Bryan was busy taking photographed pictures and videos when I first saw him, but when he cut the recording I said hello, and we had some chats and all that, and then it wasn't till later on that I introduced him to David Scott. But although we're good, I'm his friend, I'm Dave Bryan's friend, we may differ greatly, but he does, however, possess a strong grip of opinionated views, which is highly different. Both of us, and I certainly would say I'm a thorough individualist, as is David Scott, and I would almost certainly assume Dave Scott is too, which would tell the truth of things, simply enough. But obviously when the winter comes, that's when classic car events are put on hold until the next calendar year proceedings. So whatever final classic car event we attend for 2023, being myself or Dave Bryan or David Scott, I will certainly miss Dave Bryan quite greatly until quite possibly the Detling or Magnificent Motors or what have you. But never mind, as long we will always be friends for sure. And one thing I never knew about Dave Bryan is he takes an avid interest in cats, as does David Scott and myself, as we're both avid cat lovers. And I never knew that when Dave Bryan was living with his parents many years ago, that he grew up with cats, but obviously didn't have cats when he moved out of home. But never mind. Never mind indeed. Oh. He has some interesting content, Dave Bryan himself does, I must say, of various different classic car events, and I think he goes up and down the country for various different car running events, for whichever one he's able to physically attend and all that. So he really is, I would say, certainly deeply interested in them, as is myself and David Scott. You know, I would certainly be overjoyed when we next meet up, Dave, as it was a real pleasure meeting you back in April of 2023. I'm just sorry if I never recommended your channel at the very earliest point, as I did with David Scott, just to say, Dave. But I did do a video recommending David Scott's channel in the Most Recommended YouTubers series. I shall link the video in the very description below so that you could see it and other people can see it too. You know, but Dave, I don't know if you've ever attended the Hastings Classic Car event or the Hastings HCVS Spratt and Winkle running event, or Hillingly Festival of Transport. If we'd met up there, it would certainly be an overjoyed, elating moment. But never mind if those events are not terribly appealing to you and all that, as we all do possess different interests in our own oneself and all that, which is completely normal, since there is individuality, which is just completely commonplace and nothing can change it, which is the truth of things. That's all right. But, yes, and sometimes I even fondly think about our first encounter in full reminiscence, despite the fact that you may possess some stronger, more opinionated views than myself. We will always be friends, Dave, and I absolutely mean that. Also, one of the best things about Dave Bryan himself was that when I introduced him, not only when I introduced him to David Scott, my best friend, but in a way, one could say he's one of the other good friends I could have been looking forward in the future. But, hard truth, really. Yeah. Yes, yes. And also, Dave, I really do think you are certainly one excellent classic card enthusiast in the same way David Scott is. And I don't know whether or not you've ever taken any interests in going to miniature railways or steam railways or bus rally events and all that, but I'm sure it's something you would dare like to think about and all that. Yes. And my apologies if at any point in this video, at any point, I got lost for words, as you do sometimes strongly remind me of. But thanks everybody indeed for watching this video. Dave Bryan certainly does indeed deserve to be one of the most recommended YouTubers for 2023, almost certainly indeed, in the same way David Scott should. And please, please, please do subscribe to Dave Bryan's channel, everybody. The link to his channel will be found in the description below, his 2 individual channels, that is. And also, Dave, if you are still watching, the link to David Scott's representation video within this most recommended YouTuber series will also be linked in the description of this very video down below, beneath the 2 individual links of your channel which I'm recommending. Thanks everybody indeed for watching, and thanks Dave if you were watching this yourself. I'm almost certainly assuming David Scott would be watching this too, my best friend. Thanks everybody indeed for watching, and I shall certainly see you in the very next video. Ta-ta, another time. Many best wishes for your classic card enthusiast successes in the future, Dave. You are certainly a good friend, and may our friendship happily flourish strongly and happily into the future. From Foxy. Oh.